Hello there YouTube, it's Victor, give me a break man, give me a flake man, king of the morons, here on the streets of Nagoya. And we already spotted a beautiful girl. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to be mostly filming what I see as I walk around. But this is going to be a laundry video. For those of you who don't know, a laundry video is a video where I basically blah 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 like a podcast. And you know, you can listen along. You can watch if you want to. I provide free tissues. I provide commentary as I walk around and show you the streets. Or we'll be talking about one subject, but you don't have to listen. You don't have to watch. Let's screw that up. You don't have to watch. Just listen as I blab. And as you can tell from the subject today, the subject is racism from old people. Racism from old people and handing out tissues back there. I knew a guy that was once so cheap, a foreigner who was so cheap that he refused to use toilet paper. He just used tissues that he got free. Isn't it beautiful here? Beautiful here though? So, today's topic, as you can tell, is the racism or prejudices or discrimination that we have here in Japan if we're old. I mean, from old Japanese people. Okay, so let me explain how this conversation came along. Oh, always walking against the red light. I think I'm gonna jaywalk. No, there's a taxi. I almost got hit by a car. That would have been pretty good. We got another taxi here coming, so actually I can cross over there in a minute. But okay, so the reason this topic came along. Yes, and I know it's been a while since I've done a laundry video, but I've been like perpetually sick with colds because I have a young son, and once you have a young son, they go to the nursery school and bring back every kind of mucus-based organism that can possibly exist. But I actually went to the nursery school today, and all the kids want to shake my hand and it's like give me five and stuff. And they say touch. By the way, if you say touch to a little kid in Japan, he'll just give you high five. They don't really say high five; they say touch. So as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get sick again. I just kind of, I rubbed my hands really quickly to try to kill all the bugs with friction, which I don't know if that's actually a proven method of killing bugs. Somebody should study that. You know, what's better, washing your hands or killing viruses with friction? I bet you that kind of works. Okay, so the reason this topic came along is on Facebook the other day. Who are they? On Facebook the other day, Zach, I think I can talk about this. Zach is getting a new apartment. He was complaining about how he can't seem to get someone to rent to him. Old people don't want to rent to him. And he wondered why that was. Or no, he was basically complaining about discrimination, and Japan's got to do something about discrimination, right? Especially when you're renting an apartment. This guy's got bad taste. Look at this. My God, terrible taste. So, someone wrote, maybe it's because old people carry some kind of grudge left over from World War II. And that's not the first time I've heard this theory. The theory, let me repeat the theory, that's important. That's weird, mailbox. That's weird, huh? Oh, that's a power for all these lights, I see. Oh, I see. There's a power. That's a power box. It's a battery, I guess. What's that powered? Oh. Yeah, look at that. This thing, it powers all of the electricity. It's not connected to the street light. That's weird. And see that white wire there? That's going all the way over here. And there's another box here. I see. Look at that. Okay, as you can tell, this is going to be a little rambly one because I have not done this in a while. But anyway, little babies everywhere. They say there's not enough babies in Japan, but I see babies everywhere. Nice hair, nice brain t-shirt. So anyway, though, I've heard this quite a few times, but the question is, do old people and do Japanese resent Americans because of World War II? Because a lot of people seem to think that. And I guess from a Western point of view, it's quite natural. It's atarimae. It's quite natural to just assume that Japanese. This is Aussie 78. Aussie Awesomoss's favorite store. it's quite natural to assume that they will carry a grudge because of the world. Because, you know, humans are basically tribalistic. And, you know, it's us against them, it's my team against your team, and God is on our side. And, you know, the Muslims against the Christians, against the Jews, against even the Buddhists. Even the Buddhists got something to say. So, I understand that mentality, but the truth is that once you come here and meet old people, you will see quite quickly that racism is, or not racism, but shitty attitudes from old people because you're American. Yeah, that doesn't even exist. I've never seen it happen. And on the contrary, you'll see that old people are amongst you'll find some of the friendliest Japanese ever amongst the elderly. They're just so friendly, so nice. It's just amazing. It's amazing this bookstore's still open. So I just want to put that to rest. And it was a really nice, I put this on Facebook. I put a really nice blog post there. I just put that out there. I said, you know, I think that's bullshit. I don't think Japanese people resent us because of the war, especially old people. And I said, well, this is my experience. What do you think? And almost across the board, everyone said, yeah, the old people are the nicest. And yeah, they don't seem to be bothered by it. You know, maybe it's because they were able to let it go because it was theirs to let go. So yeah, that's something that's interesting. I just came up with that. Look at that. So because maybe originally some Japanese were biased against Americans or Westerners because of World War II, but it was those Japanese that were actually in the war that had that bias. Yeah. And because they owned that bias, they were able to let it go. But other people who never personally owned that bias kind of just imagined that bias. Don't you think? What do you think? Sounds pretty good, right? They imagined that bias or took on that bias. A little bit like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but converts are often much more zealous than people born into a religion. So if you converted to Catholicism or Judaism or whatever, oftentimes you'll be much more defensive about that religion when people attack it. We're gonna go over here and let you see some shows happening, people practicing out here. Pretty cool. I've noticed that, right? And it's the same thing goes for Westerners living in Japan. Some of the people who defend Japan the most are people who are not actually Japanese, but people who live here like myself. And let me just time out to tell you that I'm not a Japanophile. I'm not a weeaboo. I happen to live here and I happen to like it here, but you know, I've criticized it quite often. I don't always defend it. What's happening here? Huh. Oh, pretty cool. Konbanwa. 何の練習ですか？ダンスです。大学とかダンスグループ？ダンス。ああ、本当。みんな違うんですか？あ、面白い。オンブレラ。今日雨降るからちょうどいいかもしれない。お願いします。So I thought it was a university, but apparently not. Yeah, so look at that, beautiful. After March 11th, after the earthquake, they kind of stopped decorating, putting up a lot of Christmas lights in the downtown, in the Nagoya Station area, which used to be really famous for it, but they've kind of stopped doing that. And I think they still haven't brought it back completely, but you still see these kind of street decorations, which is it's very nice, very nice. Anyway, so yeah, some of the nicest people you will ever meet in Japan are old, and if you think about the age you'd have to be to even remember World War II, you'd have to be pretty goddamn old. I mean, World War II ended in what was it, about 45? I'm sure that number's wrong, but Anyway, mid-40s, right? And at least you'd have to be 20 years old in 1945. And that was 80 years ago, right? 82 years ago. So, wow. You would have to be 100 years old, man. So, the chances of you meeting anyone who remembers that are slim to none, even though Japan is an amazing aging society. But people who remember that, chances are very slim. I mean, there are lots of old people. There's an old person in there. There's an old guy right in there watching TV. I could go in there and ask him, but that'd be weird. Hey, do you hate me because of World War II? I mean, the other weird thing about that is that my family immigrated to America when I was a year old. And so although I feel at heart very American, oh, nice Chinese place. I feel very American myself, and I have no interest in ever becoming Japanese. I don't think you can blame me or my family for anything that happened during World War II. I mean, none of us were involved at all. I don't think Peru was even involved in the war. Of course, I don't even know, because although I was born in Peru, I'm not very Peruvian, culturally speaking. There we go. So, yeah, that kind of racism here. I mean, of course, there is racism. Don't get me wrong. There is racism. There is xenophobia here, but it's not because of World War II. And the young people here, a lot of them, as even people wrote in the Facebook post, a lot of them think that, well, yeah, we kind of deserved it. And they're very anti-militaristic. They're the opposite of American patriots, And here's something else that is weird about this whole story. The person that wrote the original suggestion that maybe old people resent Americans because of World War II was himself Japanese, or so he claimed. So I'm not friends with him. He's some guy on Facebook. I don't know who he is. It could be a she. I think it might be a she, actually. I'm not sure. But they wrote that, and I wrote back saying, well, I think that's kind of bullshit. It's a fruit shop. But the shelves are kind of bare. I guess they're pretty much done, huh? But I wrote that person back, and turns out that person was born in Japan, but raised in the USA, barely speaks Japanese, still learning, and resents the fact that the Japanese are not patriotic anymore. Now, this is funny. Though he's a Japanese-born American who resents the fact that Japanese are not patriotic. And I think that's kind of like what I was talking about before. Like, the person, he's almost the reverse of a convert. He's someone who lost his identity, right? This looks like a nice place. In that he was, of course, I don't know the guy at all. I'm just going by a few comments he made, but turns out that maybe he lost his identity as a Japanese person, and went to America. Maybe he felt like an outsider in America. I'll admit that I sometimes feel a little bit on the outside in America, but still consider myself very much American. Then he came back to Japan. He's living in Japan now, and he resents the fact that Japanese will not die for the emperor anymore. He made some comments like, back in the good old days, Japanese would die for the emperor, but now no, they have no respect for their own culture, and they're too westernized, and they're losing their culture. But the thing about Japan is, I really don't think they're losing their culture. As you can just see, we just passed the store, right, full of that. Now there are a lot of here go a lot of foreigners walking by. That's the future of Japan, foreigners. Like it or not, it's going to happen eventually. This is also kind of one of my favorite places to just walk around. Japan is not losing its culture. There is a lot of influence from the West, as you can see here. Tons of influence from the West. Tons of influence from the West. But the food, look at the food. The food is still very, very Japanese. Is that Japanese? I don't know. I think it's kind of feels like Japanese food to me. Well, gyoza's Chinese. Well, some of my favorite chicken comes from there. That's Taiwanese chicken. But here we go. Look at the hats here on this guy. See, the waiters still have the Japanese hat. Well, that's funny. That's definitely not, well, I don't know. Is that Western? Dogs and carriages? I don't know. But there's something definitely that's very Japanese still everywhere you see. I mean, you know you're in Japan. It's not like a question. So yeah, and you see it in their anime and all that, right? There's a lot of Japanese influence, and the fingerprints of the samurai era remain no matter where you go. So I don't think we have any fear of the dying out. And even like look at these kids dressed up, these high school kids dressed up with Western clothes, but that has become Japanese. So even modern Japan has taken the West and I won't say twisted it or corrupted it, but they've definitely adapted it and made it very Japanese. It'd be pretty impossible to walk through here, to walk down any street in Japan and not know that you were in Japan. By the way the people dress, by the food, by the buildings. It's just here. This is Japan. Anyway, so not really a rant, but just a clarification for those of you who assume that Japan still resents Americans because of World War II. Not true at all. Not true at all. One last thing about that. I think people who think that have pretty much are saying what's going on here. They're showing what they would feel, how they would feel. They're imagining other people's feelings based on their own feelings, right? They're rebuilding this temple up here. Oh, check it out. There's a dancing puppet up there, see? He's finishing up now. But they've got all this closed out because they're refurbishing this whole section here. Oh, look at that. Goodbye. I hope I'm not going to get copyright strike for that. Turn around, puppet. And that's done. We go on and on. I'll have to come back though. I gotta go pick up my glasses. Anyway, I think people who assume that Japanese resent or carry grudges are people who they themselves imagine they think they would probably carry a grudge. So they're kind of displaced. I think that's called displacement, when you give another country, another person, you imagine another person feels what you feel. Oh, this is a better spot. Look at that. You can't really see because the construction buildings are up there. There's a construction worker right there. Anyway, last thing I'll do is, on the right coming up, I'm going to pass by I think she's a Westerner, and she's also a Buddhist monk, and she begs here. And I've seen her before. She's been around a long, long time. And that's part of Japan. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you had fun, at least with your ears, if not with your eyes, as I walked around the Sakae and Osakanen area of Japan. I'm gonna go pick up my glasses now. I got the lenses. I got the lenses slightly adjusted so they feel better. My eyes were kind of aching a little bit, so these are my old glasses, which I will now, if the lenses fit okay, I'm gonna have them adjusted and have these glasses adjusted. Okay, cosplay store. Let me just turn around here for a second. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.
Give him a flake. Give him a flake. You got to give him a flake, man. Victor will teach you about all the things in Japan that you wanted to see, and some things you want to live. So give him a break.
Bye bye. Yeah, bye.
Oh, you're still here? I just got my glasses. What do you guys think, huh? You've seen seen these before, but I changed the lenses a little bit. Now I can see a little bit. My focus is a little bit better now. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're okay. I think we're okay.